Cloudy skies tonight, low 59. Sun and clouds, less humidity tomorrow, the high 74. Tomorrow night clear, low 58. Nice day Thursday, clouds and sun, the high 74. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
64 right now. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Is it offensive? Is it provocative? Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Filling in for Dan is John Anthony.
Well, hello there.
And I'm so glad that you're here because I have been following the student Daniel Schmidt. He's at University of Chicago for a while on Twitter. You may remember him because he was on the front page of the New York Times.
Whoa.
Because a professor at his college tried to get him expelled because he exposed a class that's called, ready? The Problem of Whiteness.
Oh.
So the administration denied her request to get him expelled, so she ran to the New York Times to complain about him. And that's how we first met him. But there was a tweet that he put out a few weeks ago.
Very lengthy one.
A very lengthy one, but millions of views. Millions of views.
Wow.
At my college, the University of Chicago, it's inevitable that black people will mug students at gunpoint this school year because it happens every year. Last year, more than a dozen students were mugged. One student had a gun pointed at her head while walking on campus at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. You may have seen the video before back in April. And he wrote on and on, but this is the video that was attached to that tweet.
It was just before 3 in the 5600 block of South University. Maddie says a confrontation happened and the suspect demanded her phone before flashing the gun. The pair got into a tussle.
I was grabbing for maybe my phone, maybe the gun. It's really like a blackout moment for me. And I realized that I was able to grab the magazine out of the gun.
The loaded magazine now in police custody, Maddie says, and she hopes it will help solve the crime. Just minutes after that ordeal sent people in the area scrambling to safety. Another armed robbery involving two suspects with handguns reported in the 1300 block of East 56th Street. That crime under investigation by the Chicago Police Department.
I want to feel safer on this campus. That's the bottom line.
I think we can always ask for more from our campus and our city.
Maddie says she hopes fellow students and staff are vigilant and keep their guard up. When all said and done, she says her reaction was a knee-jerk one, and she's thankful to be okay.
I just couldn't necessarily really register the threat ahead of me, so definitely wouldn't advocate for fighting back. Losing a life over a phone is definitely not worth it.
Yeah, that young lady is lucky to
I
be
remember
alive.
that.
Remember that?
Yeah,
and she
I remember.
grabbed the gun and took the magazine right out.
Yeah.
Whew.
I remember
Don't
that.
police will
That
tell
was
you
smart.
never do that.
But that was, she was engaged. She had already engaged, so it was fight or flight.
Yeah.
That kicks in, and she chose to fight. But it was smart of her to, disengage the magazine.
Well, let's bring on our next guest, Daniel Schmidt from University of Chicago. He's a senior this year. Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
So, black people will mug students at gunpoint this school year. What kind of pushback have you gotten from that?
Well, as you can expect, one day after I posted that, I was condemned by the student government and the organization of black students. But I want to just make it clear from the front that I don't hate anybody. I'm not trying to be overly provocative for attention's sake. I just look at all this. I'm starting my senior year at my college this year. Every single year, at least a dozen students are mugged. And nothing ever changes, nothing ever happens because everyone is afraid of being called racist. And as I said in the tweet, I just want to say what everyone is thinking, what all your listeners are thinking, which is it's always black people. And I think until we say that, until we get comfortable with saying that, nothing is ever going to change because they're going to keep calling us racist. I mean, we can't even say I want more police without being called racist. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's a disgrace to the students at my college who want to learn. I think it's a disgrace to every person living in Chicago. And I think, again, until we just eliminate that fear of being called racist, nothing's ever going to change. And so that's my goal. I'm a college kid. I have a lot to lose. I hope maybe in saying this, hopefully our leaders can one day be honest about what's happening.
Well, I mean, it just sounds racist to me. I'm all for free speech. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I have to agree with what everybody says, but Would you feel afraid to live next door to a black tech entrepreneur?
No, but that's not who's living in Hyde Park. Who's living in Hyde Park are people who tend to mug people and rob and murder. I mean, black people have murdered 2 students in my college, and Hyde Park is 40% white, and yet I have not seen a single white person mugging anybody. So I'm just saying what it is, and I think, again, until we eliminate that fear of being called racist, nothing's ever going to change. I mean, you cannot say we want more police without someone calling you racist. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, why are we living in this fear? Why are we living in this constant state of dread? I'm just tired of it. You know, I want to have a bright future. I want to live in a big city without worrying about someone killing me. But we cannot even say that because someone will bring up, oh, you're racist, you know, it's poverty. I'm just tired of it. I'm a young guy. I'm 20 years old. I want to live in a bright future. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay. Daniel, how you doing? I'm John. I am a black guy. Mom is black. When I actually read through your ex post, one of the things that I have been calling for on my show is for white men to be willing to stand up and call out things. So for that, I say kudos. But as I'm reading down through your things, I see why people are saying that you're racist or that you could be a racist. This is coming from a guy who's from Chicago, Cabrini Green housing projects, 87, been in the hood my entire life. Do you think, because you said you don't genuinely care about slavery, well, there are people that do, and I think some of your word choices, your word usage, is what's probably offending people. I'm one of those people who don't give a you know what about offending people, because I really personally I think it's high time that we do have this conversation of race, because only one side is allowed to have a conversation of race, and that one side is, you know, anybody that's racist can't interject or add anything of value to the conversation. I think that's what's sorely missing. I love to have conversations on my show, conversations like this. Now, there are a lot of people that, especially a lot of black people, that listen to AM 560 The Answer. So here's my question to you. Is Daniel Schmidt a racist?
No, I'm not at all. Because if I were racist, you know, I made a tweet saying, you know, I think IQ is a big play here. Well, if that was the case, I would say Asians are the most superior race on this planet. I don't think Asians are superior. So I don't know. I'm not racist at all.
Okay.
Okay, then you put in one of your tweets, I've just been condemned by University of Chicago Students Government and Organization of Black Students. Should I date a black girl this year?
Well, that was just a joke. Don't you find that? I meant that as a joke. Like,
yeah. But let me school you on black people. Black people don't take things like this as a joke, because of system, as a lot of black people say, what systematically what they've been through in this country, not given fair shots and things of that nature. A lot of that is true. I do believe we've come to a dispensation in time where, you know, a lot of how black people were treated. You have pockets of this. Like I always say, America is no longer a racist country, but America does have racists that live within its borders. So a lot of people listening to you interview right now, they hear your laughter and they think, yeah, you're not really taking this seriously. And I think that's the pushback that you're getting, especially against, especially from people at the University of Chicago. I mean, they're very leftist and progressive. That's a very left and progressive institution. And you're right. Now, no, wait, let me ask this question. How do you know that a majority of the people that are committing crimes against students at U of C, how do you know they're black? Are there statistics that point this out?
Well, actually, no. My university is not even allowed to publicize the race because it's so common that they're black people and they're unafraid, or they are afraid to publish the race because they don't want to be called racist. But I just see it with my 2 eyes. The 2 students that were murdered were done by black people. Every single time the video comes out of a mugging, it's done by a black person. I mean, it's just simply unquestionable. And honestly, can I just say one thing, please?
Yeah.
With all due respect, and I really love your program, so I'm coming with no malice. I am just so tired of this conversation. I mean, kids are being mugged. Kids are being murdered. And it sounds like you guys care more about sounding politically correct.
No. That's not what we're saying.
Can we just care about protecting lives? I mean, I don't want my classmates being mugged this year.
Oh, I understand that. Nobody's promoting violence.
No.
We got that.
Okay, wait. Let me clarify this. Daniel, what I'm saying, I'm trying to show you why people are saying what you're saying is
They
that
can
way.
say whatever they want. I don't. I mean, it's freedom of speech. Just
Yeah,
like
it
I have
is.
freedom of speech, they can have freedom of speech. Absolutely.
And if you heard what I said earlier, one of the things that I've been calling for is for white men to grow a pair and be willing to have this conversation without fear of retribution, without fear of them being called racist. That's refreshing that a white person is not afraid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you talked about the two people who got killed last year, were you talking about Max Lewis being one of them?
So that was not last year, but that was 3 years ago. That's when I started college. Yeah, he was one of them.
Oh,
and then the other one was a graduate student.
Oh, Max Lewis's story. It was just he was on the green line. They never arrested anybody as far as I know. So we don't know if it's black, white, Asian. We don't know who shot him, but he was on the green line, John, coming home from an internship, and a stray bullet went through the train and got him in the spine at C2. And his mother asked him, "Do you want to be taken off life support?" And he winked his eyes.
No way.
To say, please. No. Yeah, it is if you want to cry, that story will forever stick with me because I have never felt so much pain for a mom in my life than that. So he was an AE Pi at University of Chicago, loved by everybody, and it was just a sick story.
But you know what, Amy? Listen, we have to have these conversations. They're hard, tough conversations. But we have to allow each side to air their grievances, air how they feel about these issues. We don't do that in this country anymore. You are immediately shut down if you say something that's even a hint of what others, especially as they have redefined what racism is. It used to just simply mean you think that your race, that the white race is superior than any other race. Now they've changed it and added all different type of definitions to what racism means. And I think that's what's gotten us into trouble where we cannot have the conversations. Because, Amy, you're white. I'm black-ish. You know, I mean, my dad, I didn't know this until 4 or 5 years ago, but I always thought I was black. I grew up in the hood, you know, but until we're able to have these conversations, as uncomfortable as they are, Mace Jackson and Joe Walsh used to have a series called Uncomfortable Conversations. I'm trying to get that from Mace so I can start having that. But they talked about these type of things, and they both were Mace had people on the black side that came after him because he was doing it. Joe had people on the right who came after him because he was having these conversations. But God dang it, we gotta have these conversations if we want to survive in this experiment called America. We have to be willing. And guess what? If you don't like it, to hell with you. That's simple.
Daniel, what's it like? What's life like at University of Chicago when you're walking around campus? Are people, baiting you, talking? What's it like?
No, surprisingly, a lot of students actually agree with me, and they also respect that I have as your co-host just said, that I have the balls to say it. I think, unfortunately, this is what a lot of people are thinking. Now, you can say I'm untrue, and you can call me racist. Unfortunately, a lot of people are thinking just this, and so until we have this conversation, people are going to keep thinking this way. So you can either debunk me, say why I'm wrong, explain what I'm saying is wrong, or people are just going to keep thinking this, and it's only going to get worse. And I mean, we see the crime, we see what's going on. It's the same group every single time. Let's just be honest, please. So, no, actually, surprisingly, a lot of kids agree with me because they also don't want to get mugged.
Yeah, but they are afraid to speak out about it because they're afraid of the retribution. You're not. So has the school said that they're going to expel you, kick you out? Have they come down on you in that extreme?
Well, actually, really interestingly, the president of my college yesterday defended me. He wrote a statement to all students. He didn't name me by name, but everyone's interpreting it that way. And he said everyone has the right to say how they speak as long as they don't infringe on the rights of others. And I would never do that. I'm totally pro-free speech. So, no, the school's defending me. They think I have a right to say this because of free speech. Because
of from the river to the sea, Palestine may be free. What about those people? What about the people who the class that you're talking about? Anti-whiteness, basically. I mean, though, if that can be allowed,
it's called the problem of whiteness.
Okay, the problem. If that can be allowed, his perspective should be allowed as well. That's That's what institutions of knowledge used to be.
Yep.
That's what colleges and universities, that's what they used to do. They come together with ideas, debate them, and guess what? Wherever you fall on that debate, that's where it should land. But I'm sick and tired of people being afraid to speak their truth, to speak their ability, or are limited with their inability to articulate how they feel. And that's why that's why the race wars exist, because we can't talk.
I know. And think about it, Daniel, you could have gone to Princeton, right?
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be on the show right now. So, hey, there you go.
That's true. So are you going to graduate on time, or are you going to be a fifth-year senior?
No, I'm going to graduate on time. There's nothing holding me back.
Okay. Are you fearful that some of these tweets are going to affect you in the job market when you're out there looking for some work?
No, because I think I'm saying the truth, and I think God protects the truth. I'm a Christian, and I think as long as I say the truth and I remain loyal to God, everything will work out in my favor.
Hey, I got a quick question. Have you talked to any blacks that actually agree with you?
Yeah, 100%.
There it is.
Okay.
It's the fear of being attacked. It's the fear of it's the crime element that if they can prove out the numbers that blacks are predominant, just like we just talked with Ted Dabrowski, 95% of the victims are where? Black and brown communities. I mean, you can argue that, but the facts are just the facts, Jack, right?
Yep. All right. Daniel, we're going to have to leave it there for today. If you want to follow him on Twitter, tell us what your Twitter handle is.
Sure. So it is Real D Schmidt. That's the word real, the letter D, and then SCHMIDT.
I'm about to follow
Thanks so much.
you right now.
Really appreciate it.
I'm going to
All right.
follow
Thank you
right
so
now.
much for coming on, and take care, and thank you again. We appreciate it. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560.